Hello everyone, my name is the Ultimate Spy, and welcome to another episode of Reviewed number 177. And today, I'm going to be reviewing the movie Cloverfield. So what did I think of Cloverfield? Well, to be honest, I was terrified of it when I first saw the trailer. It came out in 2008, but my god, I was terrified because like the idea of this monster attacking New York just terrified me as a kid, and I was just like, it was terrifying. But when I watch it now, it's not that scary. It's just like the terror of what it's like to actually be in a situation where a unknown monster attacks the city for reasons unknown. But for this movie, I wanted to review because Godzilla 2 came out this past May. I do have plans to review that movie pretty soon, actually. But I feel like, this movie is unique in the way it's done, the way it's filmed, because it's found footage, and I don't know how they do that. I had to look at a behind-the-scenes video about how they did it. It's fascinating, but this movie, it's even more fascinating when you think about how it's all done, like how, in terms of the story. I mean, basically, the story is about a party that happens for this guy named Rob, who is going off to Japan to be vice president of a company, and they have a big giant, going away party with everyone, like dozens of people, and it's in Manhattan, New York, and they're celebrating his going away, and then of course the monster attacks. It's like, I think, 18 minutes into the film, the monster attacks. There's a giant earthquake, and it turns out it's because the monster's attacked. But before that, there's a lot of really interesting things, like a lot of footage being shot because it's filmed in a way that it looks like it's just like filmed on like a camcorder, like a giant, or like a professional film camera, just like a shaky cam, kind of like that. That's what found footage is. It's meant to look like it was like footage that was found from a video camera. And the way they did this movie was just really interesting, especially with the story. I mean, first of all, it was filmed in downtown Los Angeles, and a lot of the streets in downtown LA, they look exactly like New York City, and that's insanely cool. Like, that's really amazing. And so, a lot of what you see, like, I mean, obviously the monsters is all CGI, but a lot of the buildings that are destroyed are all CGI too. I mean, a lot of them are. I don't know if there's any of them. I know when they went to the New York shoot, they did make the some of the streets look a little bit damaged from the monster attack, but for the most part, what you see, aside from a few scenes, it's all from Los Angeles, and it made it look like New York, obviously. But it's incredible to think about how much of it is actually CGI. I mean, I included the monster, and even the Statue of Liberty is all CGI. Like, it's incredible. Like, a lot of it is blue screen and green screen, and it's incredible. But yeah, basically the idea is that, I mean, it's party, and it's basically the camera is being filmed from the perspective of HUD, who is played by T.J. Miller, and this is T.J. Miller's first film role that he did. He's more famous for playing characters like Tough Nut in the How to Train Your Dragon series, and also Weasel and Deadpool, among other characters. He's in quite a lot. He's basically kind of like that laid back surfer dude kind of voice. And this is his first film role. And what's really interesting, and when I looked behind this video, was like everyone had to memorize their lines and get it on one take. They couldn't do it again, which is kind of amazing. I mean, they were able to do it, but like, because it's found footage, you kind of expect that's gonna go off the rails. But no, they do it perfectly, and they got Matt Reeves to direct it. I haven't seen any of his work. Apparently, he is going to be doing the Batman movie, but I'm not going to see that because it's DCEU, and they're like, DCEU kind of sucks anyway because of recasting everything. But still, also J.J. Abrams was a part of it. He was the producer, and it's just incredible. I think this was also the year before he made the Star Trek movie, the first in the Reboot series. So it's just fascinating to see everything come together and everything like that, and just see how it all happens, how it all takes place. But yeah, a lot of it is from the perspective of where he's filming and everything and documenting the whole thing, documenting the party. It starts at Beth, who is this beautiful girl that Rob is. Well, I mean, I guess like she's his ex-girlfriend, sort of like that. They had sex like that, and so they're at her dad's house. Dad's out of town, kind of thing. She's this girl that is played actually by Odette's, whatever her last name is, Odette Annable, who played Samantha Ari's Rain in Supergirl season 3. I'm pretty sure it was. Yeah, so she plays Beth, and she's amazing in this film. She's a very emotional character, definitely, especially about all the conflict that was happening before the monster attack. So one of the things that is kind of funny about HUD is that he's just kind of like this guy who doesn't seem to get it. Like, there's this girl, Marlena, who's played by Lizzie Kaplan. I don't really know if I've seen her in a lot of films. I know that she's been in some stuff, but I don't know where everything she's been in. But she's like, I think this is one of her earlier films. And there's a scene where he has to go around and get all the testimonies from everybody because Rob is leaving for Japan, and she doesn't want to, but he insists. He basically he makes her do it, and it's clear that she does not want to do. Just like, and she basically looks so annoyed, like, oh, please don't make me do this. And it's like, it almost sounds like she thinks he's a jerk or something like that. That's basically how it is. So, and it's just like it's like, yeah, he's one of those guys where it's like it's just like he doesn't seem to get it. It's also revealed during the party scene that Rob, Beth's ex-girlfriend, who I guess at the end of the film they get back together. Basically, it's reported that they had sex together, which is crazy. And HUD, the best friend, basically goes around gossiping everything. He basically just like tells almost everybody, or not everybody, like most of the people at the party about this, and like a lot of people really don't want to know about it. It's meant to be like I think where like Lily, this girl tells him to not do it. I think Lily is the girl who's dating Jason, who is Rob's brother. Unfortunately, Jason dies at the hand of the monster who attacks the Brooklyn Bridge. And basically, Lily secretly tells Jason that Rob and Beth had sex together, which is crazy. And then, of course, Holly goes off and tells everybody. So, yeah, that was one of those characters like, yeah, you should have done that. It's like, talk about gossip. I think that's meant to be like a comedy thing, because T.J. Miller in real life is actually a comedian, so you got, I think he did that for his character of making him almost like an asshole and like not doing things at the appropriate time. Like in the subway tunnel when they're walking to the end of the station, he starts talking about things that are really unnecessary, and it's just like it's crazy. But yeah, I definitely think that HUD is meant to be like just comedic because T.J. Miller in real life is actually comedic. So I think that's what they were going for. One thing I really liked about this movie, throughout the film, it kind of cuts to different parts of the camera footage. And, I mean, it's obviously filmed to look like it's raw footage. But one of the really cool things is that because it's a monster film, a very, very, unusual monster film because it's found footage, it keeps cutting to, like, these weirdly colored images, like red and blue, whatever, I don't know what's going on with that. But if you pass at the right moment, it's really hard to grab the images, but if they pass at the exact moment that you see them. Apparently there are pictures from different monster movies like the Godzilla films, King Kong. It's all there. It's incredible. I think there's one frame where you can see King Kong from the 50s or something like that, for like one frame. But like it's incredible. Like I feel like the reason why they did it is because it's a monster film, so they want to kind of like show there were older monster films before this that were just classic, and this is just like one of those movies that I don't know the cult classic, but it's definitely got following in terms of, follow-ups. Like they had 10 Cloverfield Lane, the Cloverfield Paradox, more or less connected to the original movie, considering that Cloverfield Paradox shows the monster from the first movie and to another movie. I have never seen that movie, but I really want to watch it anyway. It isn't really something like that thing I'd really be interested in. I mean, I don't know, maybe I should watch it, but I don't know. And yeah, I definitely feel like it was a really cool thing that they had that in there. It was really, really amazing. So, with the creature itself, he is so terrifying. Like, he's amazingly terrifying. I mean, I never thought he was that scary. Maybe when I first saw the trailer, I was like, oh my god, that's terrifying. It's not really a horror film. Not scary as far as like maybe one scene, and even then it's not really that bad. Because again, I mentioned how I was terrified when I saw the movie trailer, and it's still really eerie to watch, to look at it, because like you don't really get a look at the monster until like you really see it, because it starts out when you hear the earthquake going off, and then you go out to the street and they see dust and Statue of Liberty falling, and then you see like the Empire State Building goes down. Then you see like moving dust, which is basically the monster moving, and then you hear like rumbling. Actually, even before the movie starts, there's rumbling, and then roaring. The roaring is very unique. I like the roaring. It's really cool because it's very unique because you think about a character like Godzilla or even King Kong, who have very distinct roars. But like, I mean, obviously Godzilla has the best roar in any film. You know, if you hear it roar, it's awesome. By the way, but with the Cloverfield monster, I mean that's what they're calling it. Apparently it's called Clover, but like apparently it's classified as the Cloverfield monster. Whatever, it doesn't matter. Same thing. But basically, each roar is just like I don't know. It's kind of like think of the Godzilla movie from 2014. Not the not so good one. The one that only had like 5 minutes of Godzilla in it. Think about the Mutos. Those ones had the most unique roar because they kind of sounded like techno. They kind of sounded like something extraterrestrial, basically. And I think the idea is that is that this creature is meant to be like an alien from a different Earth or whatever. Like it's the idea that it's been sent from the Cloverfield Paradox timeline in the future, and it's sent to this Earth. That's why it's attacking for reasons unknown. I'll get that later. But basically, it's kind of like that, where its roar is so unique and so terrifying, yes, but like really, really fascinating because it's really kind of wonder how they do it. I mean, obviously, it's like all just sound editing. They make their own sound, but it's just amazing just to hear this roar. I mean, you really have to hear it to understand what it sounds like. It's so cool. I just love it. That's probably one of the one of my favorite parts of the film is just hearing the roar because it's so I don't know, something about it. It's cool, but it's also like it's terrifying in that sense. I mean, the movie isn't scary really. I mean, maybe a little bit, maybe like a little bit like in terms of like a real world event, the way it's shot, but it's not that scary at all. But yeah, there's a lot of that happening, and then the Brooklyn Bridge gets destroyed. There's a giant tail that whaps it, and it ends up being destroyed. And then there's also when they go to this I guess that's an electronics store. There's a TV broadcast that shows the monster. Like you kind of see a little bit of it, and then it goes into view where this helicopter is shining a light on it, so you can see the whole creature. Maybe not the whole creature, but a lot of it, like most of the body, and you can see it's a very very unique design. Like it has a tail, has legs, and it's these giant arms. Like I don't know, it's like elbows that are like that. It's like this is its arms, and this is how it walks. It's like that. It's terrifying, but like it's a really good terrifying. It's like oh my god, holy shit kind of thing. So it shows on TV, and then there's also it climbs a building, and then there's also they see it in the subway where it actually, when you see like climbing over the subway as they're shooting into the subway, the characters that we're following, which is Marlene, Rob, Lily, and Hud, who's obviously operating the camera. Then later on, when Rob rescues Beth from her apartment because she's crushed, and she should be dead, but she's not. Somehow she miraculously is alive, and when they're helping her out of her apartment, this rumbling, and you see the creature, moving forward, towards them, as the military bombing them, and then you see more of that happen, and then you have them, they're on the way to the military to get out in the chopper, and the creature, you can see the creature fully this time, from I think it's Grand Central Station, I think it was, where it's climbing over that, and it's just like this just giant mouth. It kind of reminded me of, now that I think about it, kind of reminded me of the mouth from Star Wars Episode 6, the Rancor, that mouth. It kind of reminded me of that. I think that even the face kind of looked like a Rancor a little bit. Kind of like that. I don't know, not the exact same thing, but kind of like the idea of it. It's really, really fascinating. And then we see the last of it in the chopper as it makes its way through the city, as it's still destroying the city, because that's what it's doing, or at least what's left of the city anyway. And then obviously we see it fully up close when Hud is partially eaten. Like we can see like he dies, but like half, at least half of him is still remaining, because when the monster eats him, you can see that there's a lot of like disgusting noises, like chewing and stuff. But then you see like the camera like falls away to the ground, but you can see like a little bit of blood here. It's hard to tell, but you can see like there probably is some kind of something like limbs or something like that. I'm guessing it's actually his lower half. I'm guessing that what fell to the ground and is dead is actually Hud's upper half, like his torso and his head. And then obviously what was eaten was his legs and his, well, yeah, basically his legs. So yeah, that happened. That's disgusting. But I think Hud was an idiot in that movie. He should have ran. It's like I was looking at CinemaSins about this. And like the money point, it's like, why wouldn't he just run? He sees the monster right there. I get it. He wants to get video proof of actually seeing the monster. But like, you don't just stand still. I mean, I know you're terrified. It's like you can just stand still and then just wait for nothing to happen. Or in this case, the monster to eat you. That's what's gonna happen. He does die. It's like, it's. I mean, it's like he was just like, especially since both Robin and Beth were like, get out of there, run! Like, and just like, oh my god, it's right there. It's like right there. It's like, just run, okay, run. That's what you. That's you don't just wait for the monster to eat you. Just run. That's why he's an idiot. Like he doesn't think fast. It just he's like, oh my god. He's probably because he was so terrified. Probably like that. And what's also funny about Hud is the fact that throughout the movie, you kind of hear him say things that he shouldn't say, even when it's on his mind. Like he basically did whatever he wants to say that happens to be thinking about it. And it's just like, I think it's meant to be a comedic thing because again, he's not really watching what he's saying. So that kind of sucks too. But more on the creature, a little more on the creature. I had to just add that in because I forgot to talk about it. But basically, the creature, apparently in the news broadcast that we were seeing for the film, basically there's these parasitic creatures that kind of resemble six-footed crabs, kind of like that. I mean, obviously they're CGI, but like they didn't have like a reference doll, like a reference piece that they could use to like make sure so the actors knew what was attacking them. And apparently they come off the creature and they attack things and they bite them, and apparently those people die or explode for a reaction because of the bite. And that fortunately going through the subway tunnel, they attack them after enabling night vision because they can't see them. And Marlena, the girl played by Lizzie Kaplan, she gets bitten and she explodes. It's probably the only kind of scary thing you can see is she gets attacked. She has giant bites in the back of her. Later on, like she starts bleeding from the eyes, and then they go and take her to quarantine, and she explodes. And it's probably the only scary part of the movie, if that. It's not even that bad. She's like, oh yeah, she goes behind this curtain and she explodes. It's like, she does die. So that's the thing. Now, one thing that I've been wondering about this movie is why did the creature attack? It's not really explained exactly. I mean, it's sort of kind of explained by Hud, and more also in the Cloverfield paradox, apparently, where apparently it's caused by a satellite, possibly. Also, there's a satellite that crashes during Rob and Beth's Coney Island fair thing that they went to, because apparently Beth hadn't gone to Coney Island before. And so there's a satellite that crashes into the ocean, the Pacific Ocean, and apparently that's what probably disturbs the creature and starts rampaging, destroying the city. Apparently that's what is causing it to do that. I guess, I don't know. But also Hud mentions like there's a fish that was thought to be extinct, but apparently it might have woken up or something like that. I mean, that's what he thinks actually happened. We don't know. We still don't know why it did that. We don't know why it attacked New York. We don't know why it destroyed it. What caused it to do that. I mean, it can't be an explanation like, oh, the meteors attacked New York because they were pregnant. That's stupid. That can't be why. But still, it does make you wonder about a lot of things, especially the two films that followed, for sure. And last but not least, before I wrap this review out, because I've been going on quite a while here, sorry. Basically, found footage is I think the most interesting way of filmmaking, because it's like something I never really thought of exploring in terms of watching more movies about it. I mean, a lot of the movies that are out that are from found footage are mainly horror films. This one isn't. I guess it's like this. The subcategory is horror. If you look at it in a certain lens, it can be a little bit scary, but for the most part, really is not scary at all. And it's like, I mean, it's meant to be like a real world thing where it makes it look like it's a real world thing where this creature is attacking the city for no reason at all, except obviously I've already theories about, and it's just the way that it's done, and like it makes it feel like everything's going horribly wrong. It makes it feel like the end of the world is basically there, and like the whole city is being destroyed, which basically does happen. And it's just the way they film it, it's just fascinating because you really don't know how they do it until you watch the behind the scenes, and that's what is more interesting to me is seeing everything come together. Seeing, again, DJ Miller, who plays HUD, holds the camera, and then the microphone up top, and then you just have to, have them go around. And some of the production staff had to like dress as HUD to make it look like HUD was holding the camera when it really wasn't, because a lot of the time you just hear him in the background. And a lot of the time, production staff help in moving the camera, so it's not always T.J. Miller actually holding the camera, which is fascinating. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about Cloverfield. It's a really fun movie if you like, monster movies like this, found-footage monster movies, especially with the design of the monster. Probably one of my favorite scary designs, because he's just like, he's so menacing and terrifying, and his roar is just so unique, and I love it. And I definitely think it's like the better Godzilla movie. I'm only saying that because a lot of people didn't like the 1998 one, but I did my review of it. I didn't think it was that bad, but Cloverfield, I definitely think it makes up for it. It's just a very terrifying movie in terms of the concept, not the actual plot. It's just the way it was filmed makes it look terrifying. I mean, obviously, the subtitle of the life lesson for this movie is "Something has found us," and it's just like, it's so fascinating to think about that, because they don't know why the monster attacked. They don't know, they don't know what it is. They don't know why it attacked. It's so fascinating. I like that so much. It's really, really cool. But yeah, that's pretty much all I can say about the movie. Check it out. It's on Netflix. That's why I watched it. It's really fun, especially the narrative, especially the directing, especially how you think about it, the way it's filmed. Because you don't really know how it's done. I certainly don't know how it's done. I didn't know until I looked at the things how they made it. And it's just I'm always like, how did they do that? I mean, I know a lot of it's hair and makeup, all that stuff, but a lot of it's you would have never known it was shot down in LA because it looks exactly like New York. It's crazy. But anyway, that's all I'm gonna say about Cloverfield. I'm gonna give this movie I don't know. I did have, some issue with HUD. HUD was kind of I don't know. He was one of those guys who just didn't understand a lot of stuff, and he got didn't know where to shut his mouth. So I guess maybe for the characterization of HUD, I can just knock it one off and give it a 9 out of 10. Sure, why not? I think that's a pretty good score, to be honest. But I mean, that's pretty much all I can say. So 9 out of 10, and that's where I'm gonna leave this film. Oh, I almost forgot. So there was one really cool thing that they added. The military is actually played by real people. That they got the actual National Guard to actually play military, and that's insanely cool. I mean, they were obviously very serious about their role, but it's also interesting at the fact that they're not actually firing or anything, and I know that, but it's just the fact that they actually got the National Guard is just fantastic. I mean, yeah, they're apparently the National Guard can be good actors. I mean, a lot of the officers had to make their own dialogue, which is just fascinating. So that's pretty much all I'm gonna say about that. So thank you guys so much for watching this episode of Reviewed. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please hit the like button. I really appreciate it. And if you are new to this channel, subscribe for more episodes of this series and of the series that I do, as well as the great content. Also, make sure to look that bell to enable alerts to those anime uploads, and I'll be back next week with another episode. Alright? See ya.